Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So I recently made a water feature in my garden and there'll be a video all about how I made it coming up soon on the channel, so look out for that. And for the water feature I decided to buy a little solar oxygenator. This is a little air pump powered by solar power and it's made by Woodside. So in this video I'll be doing a little unboxing, testing and a review of this pump, and I'll be showing you how I set it all up. So I recently bought this Woodside solar oxygenator. So it's a solar pond pump that pumps bubbles into the water, hopefully oxygenating it. So I've bought this for a small water feature, but I have used a very similar solar air pump in the past for a larger pond, and it worked quite well. So let's take a look at what you get in the box. As I say, I bought this for a small pond that I've recently made, pond/water feature. So it's just for decoration really, just to get a bit of movement into the water, some bubbles, just nice to look at. So here is the pump. Looks quite well made, feels quite solid. I'm guessing it's kind of waterproof. If you have it sat this way, it should resist the water quite well. I think these are designed to just be put out and then put the pipe on here into the water, and they should do okay. I don't know for how long, but I plan on putting mine in a little housing anyway, which I'll be showing in a moment. So there's the pump, nice long cable to the solar panel in case you want to put the solar panel somewhere else, and it screws onto the solar panel with like a permanent connection here. So what does it say on the pump? Model W216, IP44, work voltage 6 to 9 volts, max pressure is 450 mmHg, max flow rate 120 lph. So I think that's 120 litres of air going through the pipe per hour, I think, I'm not sure. It's got little rubber feet on the bottom as well. So that's the pump. So it also comes with the tube, the air tube, and an air stone. This allows the air to get distributed nicely into very fine bubbles, which then rise up through the water. So you get your little air stone and the pipe, which is just a standard sort of white tube. You also get a mount for the solar panel. So the mount is on like a ball joint that goes on the back of the solar panel, and it's got this spike which you can use to put into the grass in the ground to steady it in place. I won't be using that part, but if somebody wants to stick it in the ground, you've got a nice spike there. So here is the solar panel. It's got a cover on the front here. That's that ball joint thing I was talking about. This piece comes off here and you slide this over and onto here, tighten it down, and that allows you to orientate the solar panel where you want it, and then you can pinch this down to keep it snug, and it will stay in place. It says on the back of the panel, type solar module, model W216, maximum power 1.5 watts, maximum power voltage is 6.12 volts, maximum power current 0.25 ampere, open circuit voltage is 7.44 volts, short circuit current 0.26 ampere, tolerances are minus and plus 5%. So a simple little solar panel, and you also get some instructions in here. So what I've done is I've made this little wooden box housing for the pump, and I've done this in the past and it worked pretty well. It not only sort of lowers the volume of the pump, quietens it down a bit, but it protects it from the elements too. So if you'd like to see a video on how I made one of these in more detail, I'll leave a link to that video in the description. But this is just a box made out of scrap wood. I made this out of some pine and a piece of feather edge board for the roof, so there's a little slope on it. And there's 2 holes in the back to screw it to the fence. There's a hole in the bottom here for a pipe that I'm going to put in there, which will protect the little hose that you get. So this will come out the bottom. I've drilled loads of air holes in the bottom of this as well, as you can see, just so the pump can get airflow inside the box. And there's a lid on here which attaches with 4 screws, and on the roof there's another hole here which will allow for the solar panel to fit. The plan is to stick the solar panel directly on top of this box and have the cable coming through the back here, so it picks up the sun. And the main reason I'm doing this is because where I've got my pond, there isn't much sunlight, but at the top of the fence there's much more sunlight, seems to get there. So this will be up at the top of the fence, getting the light, transferring it into the pump here, and then down through the tube into the pond. I will have to probably buy another tube. The one that comes with this pump is about 2 meters. I think I need more like 2.5 to 3 meters, so I will have to buy another tube. That's no criticism on this pump. I think this is quite generous, 2 meters, but in my case I'll need something a little bit longer. So here is the box, as you can see. It's just a box with a lid on it for the rain to drip off. Plenty of air holes in the bottom. The pump doesn't need one of these, as I say. This is just how I did it, and this is for outdoor kind of use. I wouldn't say this is a great idea. I've done it myself and it's worked well in the past, so that's what I'm going to do. But please do your own research on these sorts of things. So here is the setup before I put the front on. The solar panel sits on top of the box. The wires come through into the pump. The pump is connected to the air tube, which goes down through the bottom into a piece of pipe, and there's loads of air holes that have been drilled to allow air into the box. So the pipe runs down, that plastic pipe, the air pipe runs through it, down to the ground. I'm going to cover that with some gravel, and then it comes through this part of the pond. There's a bit of an old fishing rod, the tube of a fishing rod that I've cemented in there, and you can see the air tube coming out into the pond. And here is the air stone. Here is the pump working on a sunny morning. There's the solar panel picking up the sun. The pump is in the box. There's plenty of air vents in the box to let air flow in. The tube is coming down the pipe, and then it goes under this gravel down into the pond, and you can see it's producing plenty of bubbles. So here we are at a later point in the day, and there's not full sun getting on the panel, but as you can see it's still producing bubbles. Not as many as when it's fully exposed, but there's still bubbles coming up nicely. So the pump was working great, there's no problem with the pump or the airflow, but I thought I'd add an extra hole just in case, just to make sure there's plenty of airflow getting into this box. I don't think it was necessary, but I thought why not, it won't take me 5 minutes. So I've drilled a 40mm circular hole in the door, and then I've got this old grill from a PC, and I've added that over the top just to stop birds and rats getting inside the box. So that should provide more than enough airflow for the pump. Okay, so that is about it then for this video. So that's the pump, quite a simple little thing, just has a pump, an air pipe going into the pond with the air stone and a solar panel. And as you saw on the shots, it works quite well, especially in full sunlight. There's plenty of bubbles that come up, great for small water features to get a bit of movement and a bit of oxygen into your water. That's always good for the plants and anything that's living in there. So this one is made by Woodside, but I had one that was pretty much identical to this, made by a company called Oxbridge. So there's a couple of different companies that make pretty much the same design, same model. So I'll include them down below in the description box. I'll leave my Amazon associate links if you're interested in checking those out, and if you do, I'll receive a small commission at no extra cost to yourselves. So if you did find this video useful, please remember to like and also consider subscribing for more DIY related videos. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.